Alright, we are COD. It is FrOzenSwipe, and I've got a game of domination on Dome for you. And I do realise that I haven't uploaded to this channel in quite a while since my last video, but trying to bear in mind I was away for 3 weeks, and it's kind of hard to make videos when you're nowhere near your PlayStation or your PVR or your laptop or anything that you could possibly need to make videos. So, you know, it was kind of difficult for me to make videos during that time, and I was struggling to put up content on my own channel for those 3 weeks to cover my ass, let alone, you know, put something up on this channel. But yeah, anyway, I just wanted to say something about the gameplay. This is probably the fastest game of domination I've ever played in any Call of Duty game ever. And it was really weird because this was a team of complete randoms. I did not know anyone on my team, and we weren't communicating at all. We weren't using mics or anything, and we still managed to completely dominate the other team, which I found really weird, like, because we were all just complete randoms. I'm pretty sure the other team were probably all a bunch of randoms as well, and I don't know how we just all seemed to be on the same brainwave, and we basically just triple capped them for most of the game, or at the very least double capped them. And you're going to see we just completely dominate this team. And you're going to see at the very end, if you look at the scoreboards, most of my team go like pretty damn positive. And that's generally unheard of. Like, there's one guy, and I think he goes negative. The rest of them go pretty well. They go pretty positive, I have to say. And, you know, obviously this allowed me to run around and get a lot of kills whilst rushing and playing aggressive, and all while showing off the brand spanking new MP5. All new and improved as of the latest hotfix. And that's actually what I'm going to talk about in this video, the latest hotfix, which buffed a lot of the weapons in this game. Now, I'm sure a lot of you are well aware of the hotfix and what weapons were buffed. However, I'm sure there are at least a few of you who have no idea what that hotfix did and were completely unaware of it and didn't notice any change in the weapons at all. So I'm going to be here to tell you exactly what that hotfix did. And these were the weapons that were buffed in the latest hotfix. As you can see, they're all generally weapons that, you know, not a lot of people tend to use and are generally regarded to be quite underpowered. So I'm really glad that these weapons were buffed. So the first weapon I'm going to get onto is the weapon that I am using in this game here, which is the MP5. The MP5 receives an 11% increase in its rate of fire. It used to fire at 800 RPM, however, with this 11% increase, it now fires at 888 RPM. To put that into perspective for you, the P90 fires at 857 RPM. So it used to fire slower than the P90, but now it actually fires faster than that. So that's just something to put it in perspective for you. The next weapon is the UMP45. This received a 15% increase in its minimum damage. Now, the UMP used to have a maximum damage of 49 and a minimum damage of 17. This is quite unusual because I had the highest maximum damage of any submachine gun in the game, and then it severely dropped down to 17, which is one of the lowest damages of any submachine gun in this game. So that was quite a severe damage drop, and which means that, you know, 49 and 17, it's going to take between 3 and 6 shots to kill someone with the UMP. However, with this 15% increase in its minimum damage, this buffs this 17 minimum damage up to 19.55, which the game engine, the engine that runs Call of Duty, that rounds it up to 20, so it effectively does 20 damage, which means it's, regardless of range, no matter how far you are away from your target, it is never going to take more than 5 shots to kill with the UMP. And, you know, this means that, you know, the damage drop-off isn't as severe as it once was, and it makes it much more effective at medium to long range engagements. So, you know, if you slap range on there and use a red dot, you can really get some nice long range kills with the UMP now, so obviously that's great. The next weapon that got a buff was the FAD, and this got quite an unusual buff. The first thing they did is they increased the minimum range by 20% and the maximum range by 25%. So this gives an overall increase in its range. However, due to the other thing that they did to the FAD, this is kind of irrelevant, so I don't really need to give that many numbers, purely because the other thing they did was they gave a 5% increase in its base damage. So before, the FAD used to have a damage of 30 up close and 24 at a distance. This meant that it took 4 to 5 shots to kill someone. However, now, with this 5% increase in damage, it now does 31.5 damage up close and 25.5 damage at a distance. This means that at any range with the FAD, it is only ever going to take 4 shots to kill someone. Basically this means that no matter how far away you are from someone, it is always going to take 4 shots to kill, which means range is completely irrelevant. It also means that the FAD is now probably one of the best weapons in the game to use with a silencer, as because no matter what range it is, it's always going to take 4 shots to kill. A reduction in range is not going to matter at all, so there is literally no downside to using a silencer on the FAD. So I definitely do recommend that if you are using the brand new FAD, that you use a silencer with it. So there's that. The AK-47 and the PM9 are the next two guns that have been buffed. These were buffed in a very similar way. They merely got a reduction in recoil. The AK-47 received a 50% reduction in recoil, while the PM9 received a 22% reduction in recoil. Now, I'm not entirely sure if this reduction in recoil is due to the visual recoil or the actual gun kick, but either way, I've used both of these weapons, and I can definitely tell you certainly that these guns are a lot more manageable than they once were. Now, don't get me wrong, you know, even the AK-47, which received a massive 50% decrease in recoil, it still does kick around quite a bit, so it's not by no means the laser that weapons like the ACR and the MP7 are, but, you know, it's a lot more manageable than it once was, and this makes the AK-47 a pretty damn good contender in the assault rifle category now, so I definitely recommend you use that. Also, the PM9 is a lot more manageable, so it's not just a case where you're better off hip firing than aiming down sights. You know, aiming down sights is a little bit more manageable with the PM9. The most significant buff, in my opinion, however, was given to the M16A4, and this was a gun that most definitely deserved a buff. The M16A4 received an 11% increase in its base damage and also a 13% increase in its rate of fire. Now, I'm first going to address the buff in its damage. Before the hotfix, the M16 had a damage of 45 up close and 25 at a distance. This meant it was always going to take 3 to 4 shots to kill someone. You know, because it takes even up close, it took 3 shots to kill. It was very difficult to get those one burst kills. Not impossible, but it was still rather difficult, as all 3 shots in that burst had to hit your target. Now, however, with that 11% increase in damage, it's gone up to 50 up close and 28 at a distance, which means it's only going to take 2 to 4 shots to kill someone with the M16, which means that it's very easy to get one burst kills, as up close you only need 2 hits to kill someone. Also, its rate of fire was increased from 780 RPM, and it is now 881 RPM. Now, bear in mind, this is the rate that the gun bursts at, and not its actual RPM, you know, including the time between bursts. So it now has a much faster time to kill, making it much more competitive with the Type 95, and in my opinion, I feel it is just as good as the Type 95 now. So if you generally tend to use the Type 95 just because it is the only weapon you feel is the only decent burst weapon, now the M16 is a genuine competitor, so I definitely recommend that you use that if you generally tend to run the Type 95. And I do realize that I've gone really over time here, but I figured that I need to get all of that information out there, so I hope you've found this video both enjoyable and informative. So I hope to see you guys using all these buff weapons, and please, for the love of God, tell your friends that all of these weapons have been buffed. I want to see more people using these weapons as opposed to the usual Type 95, ACR, MP7, PP90, you know, the usual guns that you generally tend to see. I want to see more variety in the weapons that people are using. But anyway, this has been FrOzenSwipe. I hope you've enjoyed, and thank you very much for watching.